Hello, fellow light workers, light weavers, channels. I just came on to share with those of you who are part of this collective but are not fully aware of what is influencing them all the time. This water is more expensive than beer. It's $11.99 Australian cents, but it's made for water fasting, and it has lemon and like magnesium, potassium, and high frequency and lycodes. It's so uplifting that, yeah, I'm fasting now to just realign. I've been hit and thrown off really strongly. There's always a lot of narratives around the meaning of when you're elevating and you get hit. Some people call those attacks. Some people call that, self-sabotage. It depends on what mindset you're speaking from, but as I was talking about before, you're about to do a quantum jump. If we're just talking about in the most neutral perspective, field theory, resonance, when you are jumping timelines, the old timeline will fight to keep you, because it's part of the natural survival of the circle of life. So I'm about to elevate. I'm about to go into full leap of faith, trust, which I did with this house and launching a business, even though now I've had to use my savings to go on unexpected interdimensional travel, because different time zones are different dimensions. People look at things so two-dimensionally, but I'm sure many of you know that air travel is also timeline jumping, just through a very radioactive device that creates a lot of radiation and it wears you down. But you can timeline jump in a much more graceful, spontaneous, instantaneous way, which is what I am cultivating: instantaneous, graceful time jumping. But I still haven't found a way to timeline jump when there isn't discordance and chaos before and after, and the greater the jump, the greater discordance. And as you guys could see, I started this journey with you, and just as I was like about to leap, as I just grounded from my last leap, a very serious family crisis happened and is still happening. So this could throw a lot of people, because the work that I do requires you to be very present and very connected to your network, to your field, to whatever is part of your reality. This is not about being dissociated and be like, I hate my life, screw this, I'm going to quantum timeline jump to another reality where forget these people. No, this is not an escape. And if you're here thinking this is an escape, then I'm sorry to tell you, but you are mistaken. It's a complete and utter unification, divine union with everything that you are and everything that's part of your reality, and a complete sensing and communion with it all as the dominant frequency. And what creates and what becomes the most dominant frequency is one that is coherent, not one that is trying to dominate or command or demand. Yes, I do know at certain levels of healing, like theta healing, we talk about commanding, which is a form of co-creation, totally resonant with this. But I'm trying to go to a less friction way of jumping, a less combative, conflictive, demanding, a more graceful, spontaneous out-breath into a new reality, a seamless jump. This is what I'm trying to perfect as a form of self-expression, art, and just having the desire and the impulse to reveal this part of reality to the witness, which primarily is me. I'm the first witness. I'm the first observer of what I'm choosing to engage with. And yeah, things happen that make me question, am I failing? Am I delusional? Is life too bad and ugly and horrible and, oh my God, this is impossible? Divinity doesn't have a place in this dog-eat-dog survival world where, you could just end up helpless in an institution at the whims of the systems. Anyway, that is not what I'm choosing to believe or to align with or to engage with. And I am blessed and fortunate to have many experiences where I've not chosen to align with what was presented as reality or the dominant reality. And again, not in a way of delusionally dissociating and disconnecting from everything and just being like, I want to live in my own fantasy world. No. Unfortunately, as pleasant as that would be, as a solo nomadic wanderer, I would be screwed. I wouldn't be able to take care of the practical, pragmatic things in my life. I wouldn't have a job. I wouldn't have a home. I wouldn't have animals that were, well taken care of. I wouldn't have family and friends that were supported by me or clients. I wouldn't exist in this world. And I guess, maybe some people... There was a very huge fly that bites. So we're just going to come back into a good frequency and talk about what it is I came to share. Living as a true channel means that you're always channeling. And the secret behind that is that we're always doing that anyway. It's just about consciously channeling. Because whether you're conscious or unconscious, you're tapped into a certain frequency and you're channeling it through you as a vessel. So because I consciously choose to align with the most coherent, beautiful, pure and innocent frequencies in my accessibility, when I connect to the land that I'm on, which is within, obviously, a community of animals and trees and people, because there's other people who have acreages, along this cliff face, along this hilly landscape. I often find myself feeling and dreaming the same dreams as a beautiful medicine woman and a beautiful starseed child that was, born to her. So those right now of the people are the most coherent and beautiful and innocent and pure frequencies. And then I find myself feeling and dreaming, when I'm really grounded into this land, the trees and the animals. There's a certain kookaburra that I connect with, and we make eye contact and we follow each other, and then I catch him. He comes into my dreams and I feel as him. So a lot of people think that this just is part of being part of the shamanic tradition, like it's shamanic culture, and it is. But I'm trying to simplify all of these things for everyone in a non-tradition, non-cultural, appropriating, non-religious, non-denominational way, because these attributes and skills of being a living being on this planet belong to everyone. And we all need to use them and tap into them now. Yes, I really respect lineages and traditions. My lineage is Slavic folk, white witchcraft. That was part of the way that my ancestors learned to commune with the animals on their land and learned to connect with nature, so they knew when to plant things or when the weather would change and what to do with their livestock and their, because I come from a lineage that are forest dwellers and farmers, and then there's all the generational war and conflict where the intuitive senses had to be heightened in order to be alive. So that's my lineage, but I have nomadically wandered, on 4 continents: Africa, Americas, Australasia, and Europe. And I have wandered on my own, and I am connected to each, and I've lived significant periods of time in each where I have immersed and infused with the land and the peoples and the cultures. So I don't remember always where these activations have come from that have activated me and allowed me genuine access and ability to use certain tools in my body as a tool for certain practices. I have Lakota, Native American ancestors that walk with me, and also the great white buffalo, the buffalo spirit, Wankatanka. I have Zulu kings and sangomas and Xhosa kings and sangomas that walk with me and I'm connected with. I have ancient Slavic, Russian, Polish Baba Yagas that speak to me, and I have a lot of Pleiadian and Arcturian and Lyrian intelligences that communicate and speak with me and have demonstrated themselves as in a form that is recognizable when I have opened up my third eye to see my guides. So I know for a lot of people it is so important to speak from a lineage and to speak from guides and to announce when they're about to start channeling and to close space. And spiritual hygiene, so important. But what I want to say to those of you who have been doing this for some time, and I'm talking to more advanced practitioners of channeling, which basically just means people who've been doing this for a long time and it's become a part of them. When you do something long enough, you just become it. When you practice something long enough, it becomes part of your natural way. So when you're not opening space or closing space to channel, and you're just naturally channeling all the time, you may confuse what's coming through with you. And on some level it is, because we're all connected in the unified field. But as an individual personality, that could be confusing if you've had an amazing day and you've done good things for your health and you've done good rituals for your mind and your spirit and you've connected with people well, and a frequency comes in that is very heavy and very disruptive. Try remember all the things that you are connected to within your field, within your network, and that includes your family and your land and your community and everything where your awareness and attention goes to. And for some people that is wars and deception that's happening in this world, and scapegoating and genociding and propaganda, and those There are people whose eyes must be on that. For me, that's like here, and I'm trying to put my eyes up here, the bigger picture, where there's no you're at fault and you're not at fault. It's just the unfolding and weaving of whatever frequency is becoming dominant, and what I have come to learn and I've tried to communicate with those that I love but have not always been understood or seen is that what you put your eye on and what you samadhi, what you join with and what you align with, and therefore what you're coherent with, what you're resonant with, that is the most powerful thing that you can do as a conscious creator in this world. We are incredibly powerful beings, all of us, each and every single one. Every human being, every conscious being, be that an animal or a plant or a dolphin or a human or an alien or whatever is alive and has been able to master consciousness, awareness, can choose to not just be an automatic, spontaneous impulse of the dominant field that they're in, but can consciously choose to generate a field from where they put their focus on, their eye, their witness, the eye. You see, the dark lodges and the light lodges use the same things, and really they're just evolutionary impulses. They're following a greater intelligence impulse wave. If you study Steiner, they're called the Ahriman wave, or the Luciferian wave, or the Christic wave. There's many different waves of consciousness that are impulses of evolution that people align with. Now, you get to choose. That's what free will is. That's what free choice is. Now, I have to choose to rest because I feel aged by this travel, by this experience that threw me off as so necessary, and I'm keeping my eye on it because my father is in need and I'm doing everything I can for him to move through what he has called in the most graceful, peaceful, divine, surrendered way. So the things that throw us off, the attacks, the hits, the discordance, they also are important and have their place. And if we can, with loving gaze and loving compassion, from the most evolved version of the observer that we are most tapped into, your higher self observes, your middle self, your lower self, and then the ultimate observer. Whatever state you're observing from, observe it with loving compassion. That will elevate you, and you can keep elevating till you go to the one eye, the source creation, that source intelligence. And from there, when you observe, and as you know, with the observer effect, what you witness, what you look at, even in healing, you have to witness a healing for it to take form. It takes form. It sets a structure which emanates a frequency, which changes your resonance, which quantum entanglement timeline jumps you to another timeline. So, as a channel, which we all are, but depending on your level of consciousness, I urge you now, there's a lot of crap happening in the world and to everyone individually. Please choose your highest joy and put your witness onto that until you feel it within your being, and breathe that into the world around you and into the world within you. Within and without. Breathe that for a moment, and I'm telling you now, that is going to help everyone so much right now. It'll help me. It'll help the people in the dire situations, the collective ones, the individual ones. It'll help you. Please, I urge you to breathe that into your world and breathe that into you. Now, much love. In Lakesh Shalikin.